Hello everyone, and welcome to our first official lecture. Let me go ahead and show you the lecture topics for today. Alright, so 4 things to go over. We're going to talk about what is art. We're going to ask ourselves that question, and that's a rather hefty question that we're going to spend the entire course of the semester going over. We're going to define 2 terms, first of which is medium, and then the second of which is work of art. And then we're going to look at some artists. I'm going to show you a few photographs by Gregory Crewdson, and then I'm going to show you a wide range of the types of photography we're going to look at throughout the semester. Let's get started. So, what is art? Dang, what a question. Well, let's start off early on. Let me zoom this out here. So, early on we had cave paintings, right? And that was the definition of art. Many years ago, it was cave paintings. Cavemen would go out, they would hunt buffalo, they would eat it, and then they would draw it on the walls of their home. And that was art to them. And when you think of art, maybe this is what you think of, and that would be, a right assumption to have. This is early art. We move on to ancient art, Egyptian hieroglyphics and Egyptian temple paintings, starting to depict stories that would happen in their culture. More details are being added to the figures. In Greek ceramics, the same kind of stuff was happening. Civilization started to work in other media, so sculptures and monuments were being built. Egyptians would build the Sphinx and the pyramids as grand markers of their culture. You may have noticed me use the word medium, so let's go ahead and define that. Medium is any particular material being used to create the work of art. And so that can range anywhere from, when we're working with sculpture, let's zoom this out so we can see it. This is the David by Michelangelo, very popular sculpture in art history. Medium. A medium can range anything from, you may have a sculpture that's made out of plaster or clay or marble or metal or wood. Those are the particular materials that make up the sculpture. Or perhaps you see a painting and so the medium is paint, right? Or you see a drawing and so the medium is pencil or charcoal. Over the course of the semester, we are working with the medium of photography, and sometimes we'll be working with the medium of video. There are some more intangible media, such as performance, and we may look at a few of those as well. Continuing on from the images we were looking at, here's another sculpture slash statue, an Abraham Lincoln statue, which we're all aware of, and a few more monuments that are very important to international history, the Eiffel Tower and the Statue of Liberty, right? All very well-known works of art throughout history. One that you probably know of, whether you're somebody that loves art or somebody that has never really thought about art, is the Mona Lisa. You may have read about the Mona Lisa in the Da Vinci Code or watched the movie. Maybe you know a little bit about her from somewhere else. Maybe you've seen this in person, and if you have, here's what you probably experienced was this huge crowd of people when the Mona Lisa behind a pane of glass. I have been there. I've experienced this. It actually is a sight to see, the Mona Lisa painting, but it is a grand work of art to take. I think this is a great opportunity to define work of art. I'm using the definition of work of art that was in your online reading. So, here it is. Work of art is a visual expression of an idea or an experience formed with skill through the use of a medium. And we already know what a medium is. So in this case, with the Mona Lisa, it's through the, let's zoom her out there. It's through the use of painting, right? Through the use of paint. And as I show you some more contemporary, as in what's happening now in our time, terms of art, as I show you art that's happening in our time, we'll ask the question, is that art? Does it fit into that definition of, is it a visual expression of an idea or an experience? Is it formed with skill? And then what medium is it? Now, this is not contemporary. This is way back hundreds of years ago as well. Not hundreds and hundreds, but definitely like 400 or 500 years ago. The Girl with the Pearl Earring, another portrait of a woman. Very popular painting. Our medium is paint. And you'll notice that throughout history there were lots of portraits being made of women and of men. And we still have those same portraits today in photography and in advertising, except they've changed a lot. Take a look at this. Widely different from our Mona Lisa, right? Mona Lisa has a very calm demeanor to her. It's a very conservative picture, very peaceful. And not that this image isn't peaceful, but there's a lot happening in it, right? So we have this image of Anne Hathaway, which is a portrait, but she's surrounded in texts and fonts and advertisements. And she's revealing a lot more, right? Revealing a lot more skin. And so the portrait has definitely changed. But let's stick to the question, is this art? What is art? Is this a work of art? Well, it's definitely formed with skill. Somebody from behind the camera took this with a level of skill, and then a designer designed it to go with the text and then put it on the cover of Vogue magazine. It is done through the use of the medium of photography and the medium of text. Is it the visual expression of an idea? Sure it is. Someone had the idea to put her on this magazine, maybe because she's representative of women her age, and they were trying to bring in a certain audience based on this image. And we see advertisements around us all day, every day, no matter where you live. Some places more often than others, obviously. I mean, this is Times Square, so you're going to see them everywhere. And I want to show you a few places where we start to see contemporary versions of art and design creep their way into our psyche and into our everyday life. So in performance, right? If you're watching a show, this is an example of that intangible medium of performance, right? I can't go up and touch it like I can a painting, although you shouldn't touch the Mona Lisa. I can't go up and actually feel the marble, right? The idea of the performance is our medium, right? More performance, street performance. What about when we watch movies? Are movies works of art? Sure they are. And our medium is video. They are definitely a visual expression of an idea or an experience. I'd say they're formed with skill. I love The Lord of the Rings. It's very skillful to me. I love Jurassic Park. Definitely skillful. And again, it's formed through the use of the medium. And we typically in the art world, we call that medium video when we are watching something on the big screen. It could be in your favorite television shows where you ask yourself that question, is this art? And I want to go ahead and say something about that question. So answering the question, is this art? One good answer to that is, or another question to ask to help you answer that, is this work provoking or inspiring me as the viewer to have an emotion, a thought, or a feeling? A good work of art is something that provokes or inspires the viewer to have an emotion, have a feeling, or have a thought, right? And if you're watching a television show, or if you're watching a movie, or if you're in a museum and you're looking at a piece of art and it is not activating your mind to have some kind of feeling or be inspired to go out and do something, then it is not a piece of art. It is just something, it is decorative, right? That said, it can vary from person to person. The person next to you may be very invigorated by this comic book that they might be reading and saying, wow, this really inspires me to go out and draw my own comic books, right? This inspires me to go out and change the world, maybe. Whereas you could start reading this and really just think it's a piece of crap, right? Maybe you're inspired by video games, right? Maybe that activates your mind. Maybe that gives you thoughts or emotions or feelings. And they are formed through a medium, right? It is more of a digital medium than it is anything else. Through the pixels on your computer screen. Or on your TV screen, maybe. But anyways, work of art, medium, all these terms we're trying to understand. Let's refocus those terms around photography and the camera eye, because that's really why we're here in this course, is to understand how they work and how we can appreciate art in terms of the camera eye. This artist, this man right here, this gentleman, this is Gregory Crewdson. He's an incredibly popular fine art photographer right now. Very famous, makes a lot of money, and spends a lot of money to make his photographs, as you can tell by his humongous camera right there. Here's one of his photographs. We'll zoom this in so you can see it. I might have to pan around it here, but so you probably recognize this if you've been on the main page of our course in Blackboard. I kind of designed it so that it would, every week you might see one of the photographs we're working with. I love this image. It is very well composed. Gregory Crewdson obviously has skill, which we know is a requirement for a work of art. When I look at this image, I see my eyes go directly to the subject first, the boy, which is crazy to me because he's the smallest thing in this photograph. But my eyes go to him first because he is wearing this green shirt and he's lit up so well, and he's wearing this green shirt in the middle of all of that white space, and he's surrounded by all of this foliage. Next week we'll start to talk about how do we recognize aesthetic elements and appreciate them, and how do they contribute to the photograph. Here's some more of his images. So Gregory Crewdson generally works with narratives, right? He'll set up a narrative, usually with one subject or two subjects, sometimes more, and it's an ambiguous narrative. So he doesn't tell us the name of his characters, he doesn't tell us what job they have or where they're going. He just creates an environment for them, gives them a posture or a gesture, and puts some objects around them. And he leaves the narrative up to you as the viewer, so that you can do the brain work and start to apply your own narrative to it. And to me, that's what makes it a work of art. We want to have to do some work when we look at a work of art. If everything was spoon-fed to us, it would just be a dead piece on the wall. It would just be decorative, right? We know that a work of art is something that inspires us to think. It provokes us to feel, whether it makes us feel happy or whether it makes us feel angry. If we hate the piece, it's still art, right? But if we feel nothing when we look at it, then it's not art. And he's definitely making us feel something from these. I mean, they almost look cinematic to me, like something, from one of my favorite movies or TV shows, because of the way it's lit, right? And how we get to focus on one character and, what she's holding. Try to guess her story, right? Some of these have some of a mystery story feel or kind of a sci-fi story feel, which I love. So that's Gregory Crewdson, really great artist, and we will look at him again in a few weeks for sure. He's going to become very pivotal as we talk about light and narrative later on. I'd like to show you a few other kinds of photographs that we're going to look at this semester, just to give you a taste of what you're in for and get you excited. We're on the subject of narrative. Let me show you some other narrative photographers. This is Matt Glass. He works with miniatures. He shoots miniature sets and then shoots other people outside the miniature sets and then pastes them onto the set. So in this photograph, all of the white snow is actually powdered sugar, right? It's very cleverly put together. We're going to look at fashion photography. This is Erwin Olaf. And all of these names that I'm giving you right now in the lecture, I don't expect you to remember. I'm just getting your feet wet. Erwin Olaf, who works both in narrative and fashion photography. Costume photography and video. We'll look at some of that. Let me zoom this in. We'll look at some photography of everyday life and the trials and tribulations of getting through everyday life, and the opposite end of the spectrum, not fictional narrative, but non-fictional documentary photography, going to other countries and documenting what people in our country just don't get to experience. Again, let me zoom these in so you can see. We will tackle a lot of serious issues that photography has been dealing with for years, such as religion, such as race, such as nationality, such as culture and civilization, such as gender and orientation. We'll look at images that self-express. Self-portraits are some of my favorite photography. When I started photography, I only did self-portraits. I realized soon enough that I needed to do more than just love myself for my photography to get noticed. And so, I had to branch out. But I'm going to show you a lot of the photographers that really got me into photography. And really have a good sense of self-expression. We're going to look at portraits of other people. We're going to leave people for a while. We're going to look at landscape photography. We're going to talk about Ansel Adams, the forefather of one of the forefathers of photography. We're going to look at objects and still lifes. We're going to look at the more intangible stuff. People that went into the dark room and were playing with chemicals and making abstract images. And then we'll talk about how these works of art are viewed. Are they put into a gallery? Are they put into a museum? Or are they put outdoors, right, in the real world for people to see? And then how are we as the audience supposed to take them, right? So great. I think we'll wrap up on there, but let's just review before we finish. So today we talked about what is art, and we didn't 100% answer that question. Every day we're going to get closer and closer to understanding what is art and how do we appreciate it. The most important point to take away is that art is something that both inspires and provokes you as the viewer to think, feel, or emote something. And if it doesn't do any of those things, it's not art. We talked about the definition of medium, which is any particular material used to create the art. We talked about the definition of work of art, which is a visual expression of an idea or experience formed with skill through the use of the medium. And then we looked at a wide array of artists. Well, great. I'm really excited. I'm going to leave you with this image here. Please check Blackboard for all other videos for the rest of the week, and email me with any questions or thoughts that you may have. I look forward to hearing back from all of you. Thank you guys so much, and continue on to the next video if you want. Bye-bye.